Daeho Park stared through the thick glass window into the darkness beyond. His reflection looked tired. 3 weeks ago he had been on Earth, working to save endangered species in the Korean mountains. Now he floated in a space station orbiting a dead planet, about to meet something that should not exist. Commander Tae-young Kim stood beside him, arms crossed. The older man's face showed no emotion, but his jaw was tight. He had been in space for 30 years and had seen many strange things. Even he looked nervous. "They told you this was a research station," Kim said quietly. It was not a question. "Yes." Daeho kept his eyes on the dark chamber. "They said you needed a xenobiologist, someone who understands alien animals. That part is true." Kim pressed a button. Lights flooded the chamber below. Daeho's breath caught in his throat. The creature was massive. 4 meters tall at the shoulder, with muscles that rippled under skin that seemed to shift colors. 6 eyes, arranged in pairs around its head, gave it complete vision in all directions. When it moved, Daeho saw claws that looked like they could tear through metal. The creature's body combined features from dozens of predator species. "Nothing like it existed in nature. What is it?" Daeho whispered. "Subject 7. The Galactic Council calls it a bioweapon. We made it in a lab, combining DNA from the deadliest predators across 50 worlds." Kim's voice was flat. "They want to use it in war." Daeho felt sick. "You brought me here to help weaponize that thing?" "I brought you here because the previous handlers are dead." Kim turned to face him. "Subject 7 killed 3 of them, injured 5 others. We cannot control it. The Council wants to destroy it and start over. But they gave us one more chance. They heard you can talk to dangerous animals. I work with wildlife. Real animals, not weapons. Then you should leave." Kim handed him a data pad. "But read this first." The file showed brain scans. Neural patterns. Test results. Daeho's hands shook as he scrolled through the data. Subject 7 showed signs of intelligence. Real intelligence, not just instinct. It solved complex puzzles. It recognized faces. It even displayed what looked like emotional responses. "If you leave," Kim said softly, "they will kill it tomorrow. If you stay, maybe you can prove it is more than a weapon. Maybe you can save it." Daeho looked at the creature again. It sat in the center of the chamber, perfectly still, watching, waiting. Those 6 eyes seemed focused on him through the glass. "I will stay," he said, "but I do things my way. No pain devices, no punishment. If you want me to reach it, I need to try something different." Kim nodded slowly. "You have 3 days." The next morning, Daeho met Hana-yoon in the station cafeteria. She was younger than him, sharp-eyed and direct. Her military uniform was crisp and clean. "You are the new handler," she said, sitting across from him. "The one who thinks he can tame Subject 7? I am not trying to tame it." Daeho pushed his food around his plate. He had no appetite. "I am trying to understand it. It is a weapon. There is nothing to understand." But Hana's voice held doubt. "I watched the security footage from the last incident. Subject 7 killed Handler Davis in 3 seconds. But it took 2 minutes to kill Handler Chen. It was playing with him. Testing him, or judging him," Daeho said quietly. "What if it knows the difference between a threat and prey?" Hana stared at him. "That would make it more dangerous, not less. Or more like us." The feeding demonstration was scheduled for that afternoon. Daeho stood in the observation room with a dozen scientists and military officers. Everyone stayed far from the glass. Dr. Rickson, a tall alien with fluid features, operated the controls. "We use mechanical systems to deliver food," Rickson explained in a bubbling voice. "No one enters the chamber. Too dangerous." A panel opened in the chamber ceiling. A large piece of meat dropped through. Subject 7 did not move. It sat perfectly still, eyes fixed on the observation window. Fixed on Daeho. "Why is it not eating?" someone asked. "It does this sometimes," Rickson said. "It is defiant. We will need to use the motivation system." "No," Daeho said. "Wait! We do not have time for—" Rickson started to say. Alarms screamed. Red lights flashed. The chamber door, which should have been locked, slid open. Subject 7 moved like lightning, disappearing into the corridor beyond. "Containment breach," someone shouted. "Everyone to the escape pods." The room emptied in seconds. People ran in all directions. Daeho started to follow, but something made him stop. He turned back to look at the monitors. Subject 7 was not hunting. It moved through the corridors quickly but carefully, avoiding people. On the screens, Deho watched it choose paths that led away from the crowded areas. When a technician stumbled into its path, the creature simply stepped over him and kept moving. It was not attacking. It was searching. Deho felt a chill. The creature's path on the monitors showed a pattern. It was moving toward the auxiliary lab, the small room where Deho had left his jacket and research notes. It was looking for him. He ran. Not away from Subject 7, but toward it. Security doors slammed shut behind him, sealing him into the corridor. Emergency lights cast everything in red shadow. Deho reached the auxiliary lab and sealed the door. His hands shook as he backed toward the far wall. The door exploded inward. Metal screamed as claws tore through it like paper. Subject 7 entered the room, massive and terrifying. Its 6 eyes locked onto Deho. Deho forced himself to stay still. Every instinct screamed at him to run, to fight, to do something. But he had worked with predators before. He knew that running triggered the chase. Fighting triggered the kill. He took a slow breath and sat down on the floor. Made himself small. Made himself calm. "Hello," he said softly. "I know you are scared. So am I." Subject 7 moved closer. Its breath was hot on Deho's face. Those 6 eyes studied him from every angle. One massive paw rose, claws extended. Deho saw his death in those claws. The creature placed its paw on the ground beside him gently, carefully, then it sat, just like it had sat in the chamber, watching him. "You are not a monster," Deho whispered. "Are you?" Automated defense systems activated. Stun beams lanced through the air. Subject 7 roared, a sound that shook the walls. But instead of attacking Deho, the creature moved over him. Its huge body became a shield. Stun beams hit its back instead of Deho's unprotected body. The creature shuddered with each impact but did not move away. It was protecting him. Deho pressed his hand against the creature's side. He felt its heartbeat fast and strong, felt the muscles tensing with each shock. "Stop!" he shouted at the ceiling. "You are hurting it, stop!" The beams finally ceased. Subject 7 collapsed beside him, breathing hard. Deho stayed close, keeping his hand on its warm skin. The creature's eyes, all 6 of them, turned to look at him. In those eyes, Deho saw something he had not expected. Trust. "I will not let them hurt you," he promised. Never again. Security forces found them an hour later. Deho sat against the wall with the massive predator's head resting in his lap. Subject 7 was awake but calm. When the soldiers raised their weapons, the creature growled. But it did not attack. It simply stayed between them and Deho. Commander Kim pushed through the crowd. He stared at the scene for a long moment. Then he lowered his own weapon. "Stand down," he ordered. "All of you now." The soldiers hesitated, then obeyed. The tension in the room dropped slightly. Subject 7's growl faded to a low rumble. "Can you bring it back to containment?" Kim asked Deho. Deho looked down at the creature. "I can try." He slowly stood up. Subject 7 rose with him, staying close. "Come on," Deho said gently. "Let us go back." They walked through the station together. The massive predator followed Deho like a shadow. People pressed against walls to let them pass. No one spoke. No one moved. They just watched in amazement as the deadliest weapon ever created followed a human scientist back to its cage. At the chamber entrance, Subject 7 stopped. It looked at Deho, then at the dark space beyond. It did not want to go back in. "I know," Deho said. He placed his hand on the creature's head. "But we need to do this for now. I promise I will come back tomorrow. I will not leave you alone." Subject 7 made a sound, soft and low, almost like a sigh. Then it walked into the chamber and sat down in the center. Those 6 eyes never left Deho's face. As the door sealed shut, Deho pressed his hand against the glass. On the other side, the creature lifted one massive paw and placed it against the glass too. Their hands almost touched, separated only by the thick barrier. Hana appeared beside him. She had watched everything on the security cameras. "What did you do?" she asked. "Nothing," Deho said. "I just treated it like a person instead of a weapon. And now," she crossed her arms, "they will want to use this, use you. They will make you train it to kill." Deho watched the creature through the glass. It still sat there, paw against the barrier, waiting for him. "Then we have a problem," he said quietly. "Because I am not going to do that." The transport ship shook as it entered the atmosphere. Deho gripped his seat, watching through the window as the dead planet grew larger below. Carthex Prime was all gray rock and dust. No water, no plants. Just ancient ruins and training facilities built by the Galactic Council. Beside him, the creature he now called Echo sat in a reinforced containment unit. The name had come naturally. Echo mimicked his movements sometimes like a reflection. The creature's 6 eyes watched him constantly through the transparent walls of its cage. 2 weeks, Hana said from across the cabin. 2 weeks since the containment breach, and now they want to test it. They are moving too fast, Deho nodded. After that first day, he had spent every moment with Echo. The creature learned quickly. It responded to his voice, his gestures, even his moods, but every interaction felt like building trust on sand. One wrong move and everything could collapse. The council wants results, Commander Kim said. He looked older than he had on the station. More tired. If Echo cannot perform, they will terminate it. That decision comes from very high up. I cannot stop it, perform, Deho repeated bitterly. You mean kill? I mean survive, Kim said quietly. The council invested billions in this project. They want to see that investment work. Show them Echo can follow orders and it lives. Refuse and we lose everything. The training facility was enormous. Whole sections of artificial city spread across the gray landscape. Buildings for urban combat practice. Open fields for tactical maneuvers. Underground tunnels for infiltration scenarios. It looked like a toy city built by giants. Ambassador Velthera waited in the control center. The insectoid alien's compound eyes reflected the monitor screens. Its mandibles clicked together constantly, a sound that made Deho's skin crawl. Begin with simple targets, Velthera said. Its translator made the words sound cold and mechanical. Holographic projections. We need to see Subject 7's capabilities. Deho stood in the observation room while technicians released Echo into the training area. The creature emerged from its transport container, muscles rippling. It looked around at the fake buildings, the projected enemies, the weapons scattered across the ground. Then it looked up at the observation window. At Deho, activate targets, Velthera ordered. Holographic soldiers appeared around Echo. They moved like real enemies, took cover behind buildings, fired projected weapons. The holograms could not hurt Echo, but sensors tracked whether the creature would have been hit in a real fight. Echo moved like liquid death. It flowed between buildings, avoided fire with impossible grace, struck targets with perfect precision. In 90 seconds, every hologram was down. The creature had not taken a single hit. The control room erupted in excited chatter. Military observers from a dozen species leaned forward, making notes, discussing tactics. Only Deho stayed silent. He had seen something the others missed. After each successful strike, Echo had looked up at him, waiting, checking, making sure Deho approved. Excellent, Velthera clicked. Increase difficulty. Add more targets. Reduce time. They ran 6 more scenarios. Each time Echo performed flawlessly. Each time those 6 eyes sought Deho's face through the window. The pattern was clear. Echo was not following programmed instincts. It was seeking approval from someone it trusted. Hana touched Deho's arm. We need to talk, she said quietly. Alone. They found an empty corridor away from the control center. Hana's face was pale. They are bringing in live targets tomorrow, she said. Prisoners. People sentenced to death. The council wants to see Echo kill actual beings, not holograms. Deho felt sick. They cannot do that. That is execution by proxy. That is murder. The prisoners volunteered. They were given a choice. Quick death by injection or this. If they survive 15 minutes against Echo, they go free. Hana's hands were shaking. No one expects them to survive. I will not do it. Deho started walking back toward the control center. I will refuse. I will tell them no. Then they kill Echo. Hana grabbed his arm. Velthera already has a backup plan. They will terminate Echo tonight and start over with Subject 8. Another creature. But this time they will not use a handler. They will use pain conditioning and neural implants. They will make the next one into a true weapon. Deho stopped walking. You are saying I have to help them commit murder or Echo dies. I am saying there are no good choices here. Hana looked exhausted. I have been documenting everything. Every violation, every illegal order. I am building a case to send to Earth authorities. But that takes time. We need Echo to survive long enough for help to arrive. That night, Deho sat alone in his quarters, staring at the walls. He thought about his work on Earth. He had spent years trying to save endangered species. He had fought poachers, corrupt officials, corporations that wanted to destroy habitats. He had compromised before, negotiated, made deals with people he hated to save the animals he loved. But this felt different. This felt like crossing a line he could never uncross. His door chimed. Commander Kim entered without waiting for permission. The older man sat down heavily. I should have retired 5 years ago, he said. Stayed on Earth, spent time with my grandchildren, but I kept taking assignments. I told myself I was serving a greater good. Why are you telling me this? Taeho asked. Because tomorrow you will face a choice I have faced many times. Do the wrong thing for the right reason. Compromise your principles to save a life. Kim's eyes were dark. I cannot tell you what to do. I can only tell you that these choices never get easier. Whatever you decide tomorrow, you will carry it forever. The next morning came too quickly. Taeho stood in the observation room while technicians prepared the arena below. 5 prisoners were brought in. They wore armor and carried weapons. They looked scared but determined. Echo was released at the far end of the arena. The creature emerged into the sunlight, its skin shifting colors to match the environment. It saw the prisoners, saw the weapons, understood immediately what this was, and then it sat down. Right there in the middle of the arena. It did not attack, did not move, just sat and looked up at the observation window. At Taeho, what is it doing? Someone asked. Dr. Rickson leaned forward, its fluid body rippling with interest. Fascinating. Subject 7 understands this is different from the training scenarios. It recognizes these as living beings. Then make it act, Velthera snapped. Activate the motivation system. No, Taeho said. Do not. This is not your decision, Handler Park. Velthera turned its alien gaze on him. Subject 7 will perform or be terminated. Those are the only options. The pain system activated. Taeho had seen the technical specifications. He knew it sent precise electrical shocks through Echo's nervous system. Shocks designed to cause maximum pain without causing injury. Echo shuddered. Its muscles spasmed. But it did not move toward the prisoners. It stayed sitting, 6 eyes locked on Taeho even as its body jerked with each shock. Increase intensity, Velthera ordered. Stop this, Taeho shouted. You are torturing it. It is a weapon refusing to function. This is maintenance. Velthera did not look away from the monitors. If you want this to stop, Handler Park, give the command. Tell Subject 7 to attack. Taeho looked down at Echo. The creature was suffering. He could see it in every line of its body. Hear it in the low sounds it made. But still it waited. Still it looked to him for permission. It was showing more humanity than its creator's pleas. Taeho whispered. He placed his hand against the glass. His voice was barely audible, but he knew Echo would hear. Please forgive me. He took a breath. Echo, go. The pain system shut off. Echo stood slowly. It moved toward the prisoners, but not with the killing speed it had shown in training. It moved carefully, deliberately. When it reached the first prisoner, Echo struck with precision. The man went down unconscious but alive. Echo moved to the next, then the next. In 30 seconds, all 5 prisoners were subdued, not dead, unconscious. The control room erupted in argument. Some called it a success. Others called it failure. Velthera's mandibles clicked furiously. Subject 7 was ordered to eliminate targets, not disable them. I gave the command, Taeho said. Echo obeyed. That should be enough. It is not. Velthera moved closer to him. But it is interesting. Very interesting. Subject 7 clearly takes instruction from you, but it interprets those instructions through its own judgment. It chooses how to obey. That sounds like intelligence, Dr. Rickson said thoughtfully. True intelligence, not programmed behavior. It sounds like a weapon that cannot be trusted, Velthera said, but perhaps it can be refined. We will run more tests, find the limits of this bond between Handler Park and Subject 7, learn how to replicate it or break it. That night, Taeho received permission to visit Echo in its containment. The creature lay in the center of the chamber, still recovering from the pain system. When Taeho entered through the sealed airlock, Echo raised its head. Taeho sat beside it. I am sorry, he said. I am so sorry. You trusted me and I made you hurt those people. Echo shifted closer. One massive paw touched Taeho's leg. Gently. You knew what they wanted, Taeho continued. You refused to kill those prisoners even when they hurt you. You waited for my permission. But when I gave it, you still chose mercy. He looked into those 6 eyes. You are better than all of us. Echo made a sound, low and rumbling, almost like a purr. The dropship screamed through the atmosphere of Terex 4. Taeho held onto his restraints as the vessel shook violently. Across from him, Hana checked her weapon for the third time. Commander Kim sat with his eyes closed, either praying or trying not to be sick. Echo's containment unit rattled in its mounting brackets. Through the reinforced glass, Daeho could see the creature watching him. Always watching him. 30 seconds to landing, the pilot announced. This is going to be rough. Rough was an understatement. The ship hit the asteroid's surface hard enough to crack Daeho's teeth together. Alarms blared. Something in the cargo bay exploded. Then the rear door blew open and Echo's containment unit broke free from its brackets. The unit tumbled through the cargo bay and smashed against the wall. Glass shattered. Metal bent. Echo burst free, roaring in confusion and fear. Daeho released his restraints and stumbled toward the creature. Echo, it is okay. You are safe. The creature spun toward his voice. For a moment, Daeho saw wild instinct in those 6 eyes. Pure predator response. Then recognition flooded in. Echo moved to him quickly, pressing close. Its whole body trembled. It is all right, Daeho said, running his hands over Echo's head. We crashed, but we are safe now. We are together. The tactical team poured out of the ship into the mining tunnels beyond. Hana organized them quickly, her military training taking over. Commander Kim checked the mission parameters on his datapad. The hostage is 3 kilometers into the tunnel system, Kim said. Intelligence says maybe 30 rebels between us and him. They are armed but poorly trained. What do we know about these rebels? Daeho asked. Does it matter? Hana checked her weapon again. They took a hostage. They are the enemy. It always matters, Daeho said quietly. They moved into the tunnels with Echo staying close to Daeho. The creature's skin shifted colors to match the rocky walls. Its 6 eyes scanned constantly, seeing things in the darkness that the humans missed. The first contact came suddenly. 3 rebels stepped out of a side tunnel, weapons raised. They froze when they saw Echo. Fire, one of them shouted. Energy beams lit up the tunnel. The tactical team took cover. Echo could have killed all 3 rebels in seconds. Daeho had seen it move in training. He knew what the creature was capable of, but Echo did not attack. It stood in front of Daeho, shielding him, waiting. Handler Park, Velthera's voice came through the communication system. The ambassador monitored everything from orbit. Deploy Subject 7, eliminate the targets. Daeho looked at Echo. The creature's eyes met his. In that moment, Daeho understood something important. Echo was not waiting for orders. Echo was asking for permission. Asking if this was right. Stop them, Daeho said. But do not kill them. Echo moved like shadow. It crossed the space between them and the rebels faster than thought. 3 precise strikes. 3 bodies hitting the ground, unconscious but breathing. What are you doing? Velthera's voice was sharp with anger. Subject 7 was supposed to kill them. I gave my command, Daeho said. Echo obeyed. Hana moved forward to secure the unconscious rebels. She examined them quickly. No serious injuries, she reported. Then she looked at Daeho. The ambassador is right. This was supposed to be a combat test, live fire, lethal force. These people are not holograms, Daeho said. They are not training dummies. They are alive. They are the enemy, Hana said. But her voice held doubt now. They secured the 3 rebels with restraints and continued deeper into the tunnels. They encountered 2 more groups. Each time, Echo waited for Daeho's signal. Each time, Daeho ordered non-lethal force. Each time, Echo complied perfectly. Commander Kim pulled Daeho aside after the 3rd encounter. You are creating a problem, he said quietly. Velthera expects bodies. The Council wants proof that Echo can kill on command. Echo can kill, Daeho said. We both know it. But it does not have to kill. That is the whole point. A weapon that chooses mercy is not a weapon at all. It is something better. The Council will not see it that way. Kim's face was grave. They will see a weapon that cannot be controlled. They will terminate Echo and try again with Subject 8. Then maybe the Council is wrong, Daeho said. They reached the central chamber where the hostage was being held. Through a crack in the wall, they could see inside. What they saw made everyone stop. The chamber was full of people. Not soldiers. Not rebels with weapons, families, children, old people. They huddled together in makeshift shelters wrapped in thin blankets. They looked hungry, scared, desperate. These are not rebels, Hana whispered. These are refugees. In the center of the chamber sat the hostage. Council member Thaxron looked healthy and well-fed. He sat in a comfortable chair surrounded by guards who watched him carefully but did not hurt him. A woman approached Thaxron. She held a datapad. "You signed the order that destroyed our colony," she said. Her voice carried through the chamber. "You took our homes, our land, everything. You left us with nothing." "It was legal," Thaxron said. He did not sound concerned. The council voted. The resources were needed for the greater good. "Greater good," the woman repeated. "While our children starve. While we hide in abandoned mines, hunted like criminals." Deho pulled back from the crack. He looked at Commander Kim and Hana. "We are not rescuing a hostage," he said. "We are here to silence witnesses. These people are trying to expose corruption and the council wants them eliminated." "We do not know that," Kim said, but he did not sound convinced. "Yes, we do," Hana said. She was looking at her datapad, face pale. "I just accessed the classified files. These people were colonists on Valar III. The council wanted the planet for mining operations. They evicted everyone. No compensation, no relocation, just orders to leave or be arrested." Velthara's voice crackled through the communicator. "Why have you stopped? The hostage is right there. Send Subject 7 in. Eliminate all hostiles and retrieve Council Member Thaxron." "These are not hostiles," Deho said. "These are refugees. Innocent people. They took a council member prisoner. That makes them criminals. Follow your orders, Handler Park." Deho looked at Echo. The creature watched the refugees through the crack in the wall. It had not moved toward them. It just observed with those 6 intelligent eyes taking in everything. Then Echo did something unexpected. It walked toward the entrance to the chamber. But instead of entering with aggression, it sat down, right in the doorway. "Blocking it, Echo," Deho said. "What are you doing?" The creature looked at him. Then it looked at the refugees. Then back at Deho. The message was clear. Echo was refusing to attack them. "Subject 7 is malfunctioning," Velthara said. "Activate the pain compliance system." "No," Deho said. "Echo is not malfunctioning. Echo is making a moral choice. It knows these people are not threats. Handler Park, you will give the command or I will terminate Subject 7 remotely. The explosive collar around its neck can be activated from orbit." Deho's blood ran cold. He had forgotten about the collar. They all wore them. Standard procedure for dangerous missions. If someone was captured or compromised, the collar could kill them instantly. He looked at Echo. The creature still sat in the doorway, protecting the refugees behind it. Even knowing about the collar, Echo had chosen this position. Had chosen to shield the innocent. "Handler Park, 10 seconds. Deho stepped forward. He placed his hand on Echo's head. "I am sorry," he whispered. "But I cannot let them kill you." Then he turned to face the communicator. "No." "What did you say?" "I said no. I refuse your orders. These people have committed no real crime. They are victims of an unjust system. I will not command Echo to hurt them. I will not let you turn this magnificent creature into a tool of oppression." Silence on the communicator. Then Velthara spoke, voice cold as ice. "Commander Kim, place Handler Park under arrest. Take command of Subject 7. Complete the mission." Everyone looked at Kim. The commander stood frozen, hand on his weapon. His face showed the war happening inside him. Duty versus conscience. Orders versus what was right. "Commander," Velthara said. "That is an order." Kim drew his weapon. For a moment, Deho thought it was over. Then the commander turned and aimed at the communicator on the wall. He fired once. The device exploded in sparks and smoke. "Communications failure," Kim said. "Must have been damaged in the crash. We should probably negotiate with these people directly instead of fighting them." Hana smiled. It was small but real. "I agree, Commander. The tactical situation has changed. We need to reassess." Deho looked at both of them. "You are both going to face charges for this." "Probably," Kim said. "But I am tired of following orders that make me ashamed to look in the mirror. Sometimes you have to choose between what is legal and what is right." They entered the chamber with weapons lowered. The refugees panicked at first, but Deho held up his hands. "We are not here to hurt you," he called out. "We want to talk." Echo moved with them, but the creature did something surprising. It went straight to a group of children huddled in the corner. The children stared up at the massive predator with wide eyes. Echo lowered its head and made a soft sound, almost like a purr. One brave child reached out and touched Echo's nose. The creature's tail moved slowly, like a cat showing contentment. More children gathered around, their fear melting away. The woman who had confronted Thaxron approached Deho. "You are from the council?" The station security officers escorted Daeho to the brig without ceremony. They took his personal belongings, his datapad, his jacket, everything except the clothes he wore. The cell door sealed with a hiss that sounded final. Through the small window he could see Hana in the cell across the corridor. She sat on the metal bench, face in her hands. Commander Kim was somewhere else, probably in a different section. They had been separated immediately upon return to the station. Daeho pressed his hand against the cold wall. Somewhere in this station, Echo was locked in its chamber alone, probably scared. They had been torn apart the moment the transport docked. The charges were serious: mutiny, insubordination, destruction of military property, treason against the Galactic Council. Velthara had wasted no time filing a complete report. By now, the whole galaxy probably knew that the experimental bioweapon project had failed. Daeho wondered if they would execute Echo before or after the trial. Probably before. Why keep a failed weapon around? Easier to destroy it and start fresh with Subject 8. He sat on the bench and put his head in his hands. He had tried to save Echo. Instead, he had condemned them both. Hours passed. Maybe days. Time felt strange in the brig. No windows, no clocks. Just the hum of the station and the occasional footsteps in the corridor. Then the door opened. Dr. Rickson entered, its fluid body moving with unusual urgency. The alien carried a datapad that glowed with readouts and charts. "Handler Park," Rickson said. "I need to show you something. Something extraordinary." "Unless it can save Echo, I do not care," Daeho said. "It might do exactly that." Rickson held up the datapad. "I have been studying Subject 7's brain activity during the mission. The neural patterns are remarkable. Handler Park, I believe Subject 7 is sapient." Daeho looked up. "What?" "Sapient, self-aware, conscious in the same way you and I are conscious." Rickson's excitement made its body shimmer. Subject 7's brain was designed with genetic material from social predators, pack hunters. We included those genes to make coordination easier. But something unexpected happened. The alien pulled up brain scans on the datapad. Daeho did not understand most of it, but Rickson explained. "When Subject 7 bonded with you, it activated dormant neural pathways. The creature developed social cognition, theory of mind. It can understand what others are thinking and feeling. It can imagine future consequences. It can make moral judgments." Rickson looked at him directly. "Handler Park, Subject 7 chose not to kill those refugees." "That was not training. That was conscience." "I already knew that," Daeho said. "I have seen it in Echo's eyes from the beginning." "But how does this help?" "Velthara wants Echo destroyed. Because if Subject 7 is sapient, it has rights under galactic law. The Council cannot simply destroy it. They would need to prove it is not self-aware, or grant it person status." Rickson's body shifted with agitation. "I am taking this evidence to the emergency hearing. If I can prove sapience, I can save Subject 7's life." "When is the hearing?" Daeho stood up. "In 3 hours." Rickson moved toward the door. "I came to tell you because you deserve to know. Whatever happens, you tried to do the right thing. That matters." After Rickson left, Daeho could not sit still. He paced the small cell. 3 hours. 3 hours to determine if Echo would live or die. The hearing took place in the station's main conference room. Security brought Daeho in restraints. He sat between 2 armed guards while Velthara presented the case for termination. The ambassador's argument was simple. Subject 7 was designed as a weapon. It failed to perform as designed. Therefore, it should be destroyed, and the project should start over with corrected parameters. "Subject 7 is property of the Galactic Council," Velthara said. "No different from a malfunctioning ship or broken tool. We do not grant rights to tools." Then Dr. Rickson presented the neurological evidence. The alien showed brain scans, behavior analysis, decision-making patterns. Everything pointed to the same conclusion. Echo was not just intelligent. Echo was conscious, self-aware, a person. "The question before us," Rickson said, "is whether something created artificially can have rights. I argue that origin does not determine personhood. Consciousness does. Subject 7 demonstrates consciousness equal to or greater than many recognized sapient species." Velthara's mandibles clicked with anger. "If we grant rights to Subject 7, where does it end? What about artificial intelligences? What about genetically modified workers? What about machines? This opens a door we cannot close." "Perhaps that door should be opened," Daeho said quietly. The guards grabbed his arms, but he continued speaking. We created Echo. We made it intelligent and self-aware. Does that give us the right to destroy it when it refuses to kill for us? If we create consciousness, we become responsible for it. You are not permitted to speak, Velthara said. Let him speak, said one of the judges. The panel consisted of 3 neutral observers from different species. I want to hear the handler's perspective. Deho stood. Echo has shown mercy when it could have killed. It protected children when it could have harmed them. It refused to attack innocent people even when tortured for that refusal. Every choice it made showed moral reasoning and compassion. These are not the behaviors of a weapon. They are the behaviors of a good person. A good person that could tear through a ship hull with its claws, Velthara said. A good person that was designed to kill efficiently. Do we really want to grant rights to something so dangerous? Many species are dangerous, Deho said. Humans have been killing each other for thousands of years. We still have rights. Danger does not disqualify someone from personhood. The hearing continued for hours, arguments back and forth, evidence presented and challenged. Finally, the judges called for a recess to deliberate. Deho was returned to his cell. He waited. Minutes felt like hours. He thought about Echo alone in its chamber. Did the creature understand what was happening? Did it know that people were deciding whether it would live or die? The guards came for him before the judges announced their decision. But they were not taking him to the hearing. They were running. What is happening? Deho asked. Ambassador Velthara activated the station's self-destruct, one guard said. We have 15 minutes to evacuate. Why would... Then Deho understood. Velthara is destroying the evidence. If the station explodes, Echo dies. The brain scans are destroyed. The project ends with no questions asked. He broke free from the guards and ran. Alarms screamed through the corridors. People rushed past him toward escape pods. Red emergency lights bathed everything in blood-colored shadows. Deho reached Echo's containment chamber. The door controls were locked. He pounded on the glass. Echo! Echo, can you hear me? Movement in the darkness. Those 6 eyes appeared, catching the red emergency light. Echo pressed against the glass from the other side, exactly where Deho's hands were. I am going to get you out, Deho promised. Just hold on. Hana appeared, out of breath, carrying tools. The containment door is too strong, she said. We cannot break through in time. Then we override it, Deho said. There has to be an emergency release. Only from the main control center. And that is on the other side of the station. Hana looked at her datapad. 8 minutes until detonation. Commander Kim ran up, also freed from his cell in the chaos. The escape pods are nearly full. We need to go now if we want to survive. Deho looked at Echo through the glass. The creature watched him calmly, almost peacefully. It seemed to understand what was happening. It was not afraid. It just wanted to be close to Deho in these final moments. I am not leaving, Deho said. Deho, Hana started. If Echo dies, I die with it. I promised I would not let them hurt it again. I will keep that promise. A rumble shook the station. Something had exploded in the lower levels. Time was running out, then they heard it. A sound that made everyone freeze. Echo was vocalizing, but not a roar or growl. This was different, complex, almost like speech. The sound resonated through the chamber, through the station itself. The containment door's locks sparked and died. The heavy door slid open. Echo emerged from the chamber. Dr. Rickson appeared behind them, staring at the readings on its datapad. Impossible, the alien said. Subject 7 just generated a precise bioelectric pulse. It overloaded the door mechanism. Echo freed itself? Hana asked. Yes. And that means it could have escaped at any time. Rickson looked at Echo with new respect. It stayed in containment voluntarily. It chose to remain imprisoned rather than hurt anyone. Another explosion, closer this time. The station was tearing itself apart. Everyone to the escape pods, Kim shouted. They ran together through failing corridors. Echo moved with them, protecting them when debris fell, using its massive body to shield the humans. They reached the escape pod bay to find it nearly empty. Most pods had already launched. There, Hana pointed. 1 pod left. But it is only rated for 4 people. We are 5 and Echo makes 6. I will stay, Kim said immediately. No, Deho said. We all go. We squeeze in. We make it work. Echo made a low sound. Then it moved past them, toward a different corridor. Not toward the escape pod, toward the station's reactor core. Echo, Deho called. Where are you going? The creature looked back at him one last time. Those 6 eyes held something that looked like understanding, like goodbye. Then Echo disappeared into the smoke and darkness. The escape pod docked with the damaged station 30 minutes later. Taeho was the first one out, running through corridors still thick with smoke. Emergency crews worked to restore power. Medics treated injured personnel. Everyone moved with the efficiency of people who had survived disaster. Taeho followed the signs to the reactor level. His heart pounded. He had to find Echo. Had to know if the creature survived. The reactor chamber door was open. Inside, the massive core pulsed with controlled energy. And there, pressed against the central column with all 6 eyes closed, was Echo. The creature's skin looked burned. Its breathing was shallow, but it was alive. Echo, Taeho said softly, approaching slowly. Can you hear me? One eye opened. Then another. All 6 focused on Taeho. Echo made a weak sound, something between a purr and a sigh. You saved everyone, Taeho said, kneeling beside the creature. You could have escaped. You could have left us all to die. But you saved us, his voice broke. Why, after everything we did to you? After we hurt you and used you? Why did you save us? Echo moved its head slowly until it rested against Taeho's shoulder, the same way it had done so many times before. The gesture was clear. This was why. Because of connection. Because of trust. Because despite everything, Echo had found something worth protecting. Medical teams arrived with specialized equipment. Dr. Rickson directed them carefully. Subject 7 has taken extreme radiation exposure, the alien said. We need to move it to medical containment immediately. Will Echo survive? Taeho asked. I do not know. Its body is incredibly resilient, but this level of exposure would kill most species instantly. Rickson's body shimmered with concern. We will do everything we can. They moved Echo to a medical chamber. Taeho refused to leave its side. He sat by the observation window watching as doctors worked. Hana brought him food that he did not eat. Commander Kim brought news from the station. Ambassador Velthara has been arrested, Kim said. Attempted mass murder. Destruction of council property. The charges list is extensive. The ambassador will face trial, and us? Taeho asked. All charges dropped. We are being called heroes. The people we saved are testifying on our behalf. Kim sat down beside him. Hana's documentation helped too. She recorded everything. Every illegal order. Every violation. The whole project is being shut down. What about Echo? Taeho looked through the window at the unconscious creature. What happens to it? That depends on whether it survives, Kim said quietly. But the Galactic Council has agreed to hold formal hearings on personhood rights for created beings. Echo will be the first case. If the creature lives, it will have the chance to be recognized as a person, not property. 3 days passed. Taeho stayed by the window, sleeping in a chair, eating only when Hana forced him. Echo remained unconscious but stable. The medical team worked constantly, treating radiation burns and monitoring vital signs. On the 4th day, Echo opened its eyes. Taeho was at the window immediately. Echo, can you hear me? The creature's head turned slowly toward his voice. All 6 eyes focused on him. Echo made a sound, weak but there, alive. Dr. Rickson rushed in, checking readings with obvious excitement. Remarkable. Subject 7's cellular regeneration is beyond anything I have ever seen. The creature is healing, and can I go in? Taeho asked. Can I see Echo? The radiation levels are still dangerous, Rickson said. You would need full protective gear. But yes, I think Subject 7 would benefit from your presence. Taeho suited up and entered the chamber. Echo watched him approach, those 6 eyes following every movement. When he knelt beside the creature, Echo moved its head to rest against him. Just like always. You are going to be okay, Taeho said. You are strong, stronger than anyone thought possible. He ran his gloved hand over Echo's head. And when you are better, we are going to fight for you. We are going to prove that you are a person, not a weapon. I promise. Echo made that purring sound again. Contentment, trust, love. 2 weeks later, Echo was strong enough to leave medical containment. The creature had recovered remarkably well. The burns healed. The radiation damage repaired itself. Echo was alive and healthy. The hearings began shortly after. Representatives from dozens of species gathered to debate a simple question. Could a created being have rights? Deho testified about Echo's behavior, the moral choices, the compassion, the self-sacrifice. Dr. Rickson presented neurological evidence of consciousness and sapience. Hana showed footage from the missions, demonstrating Echo's independent judgment. The debates went on for days. Some argued that granting rights to a created being would destabilize society. Others said that consciousness, regardless of origin, deserved recognition and protection. Then they brought Echo into the chamber. The massive creature walked calmly beside Deho. No restraints, no weapons pointed at it. Echo could have destroyed everyone in that room in seconds. Everyone knew it, but the creature simply sat when Deho indicated and waited. Subject 7, one of the judges said, "Do you understand why you are here?" Echo looked at the judge, then at Deho. Deho nodded. "They want to know if you are a person," he said quietly. "If you have thoughts and feelings. If you deserve rights." Echo made a sound, complex, modulated. It was not words, but it was clearly communication. The creature was trying to speak. Dr. Rickson worked with a computer to analyze the sound. "Subject 7 is attempting language," the alien said with wonder. "It is learning to communicate in ways we can understand." The room erupted in discussion. How could anyone deny personhood to a being actively trying to talk? How could they call it property when it showed such clear consciousness? But the strongest argument came from what Echo did next. A young aide entered the chamber carrying documents. She was not paying attention and tripped on the steps. She fell hard, crying out in pain. Echo moved before anyone else could react. The creature crossed the room in a heartbeat, but instead of attacking, it gently caught the aide before she hit the ground. Echo carefully set her on her feet, checking her for injuries with obvious concern. The aide stared up at the massive predator. Echo looked back at her with all 6 eyes. Then the creature made a soft questioning sound. "Are you okay?" "Yes," the aide said. "Thank you." Echo returned to sit beside Deho as if nothing unusual had happened. But everyone in the chamber had seen it. The creature designed to kill had instead helped a stranger who meant nothing to it. Not because of orders, not because of training. Because it was the right thing to do. The judges deliberated for 2 hours. When they returned, the head judge spoke clearly. "We find that Subject 7, designation Echo, demonstrates consciousness, self-awareness, moral reasoning, and empathy consistent with recognized sapient beings. We grant preliminary personhood status with full rights pending completion of formal identity documentation." The room exploded in reactions. Some cheered. Others protested. But the decision was made. Echo was no longer property. Echo was a person. Deho hugged Echo's massive head, not caring who saw. "You did it," he whispered. "You proved them all wrong. You showed them what you really are." 6 months later, Deho and Echo walked through a forest on Earth. Real trees, real grass, real sunshine. Echo's skin shifted colors as they moved through dappled shadows, the creature clearly enjoying the sensations. They had been granted sanctuary in a protected conservation area. Echo lived freely but chose to stay close to Deho. The creature had become something of a celebrity, the first created being to gain personhood rights, the beginning of a new era. Other creatures from the project had been discovered, more subjects with emerging consciousness. They were being brought to Earth to this sanctuary where they could develop without fear. Hana visited often. She had left military service and now worked on legislation to protect created beings across the galaxy. The laws were changing slowly, but they were changing. Commander Kim had retired to his family, but he sent messages sometimes, checking on Echo, expressing pride in what they had accomplished together. Dr. Rickson had become the leading researcher in created consciousness. The alien's work was revolutionizing understanding of sapience and personhood. Rickson visited the sanctuary regularly to study Echo and the other creatures, always with respect and compassion. Deho sat on a fallen log, watching Echo play with a group of young deer. The creature moved carefully, showing the same gentleness it had displayed with refugee children. The deer were not afraid. They seemed to understand that this strange being meant no harm. Echo returned to Deho after a while, settling beside him with a contented rumble. The creature had learned more vocalizations. Still not words, but clear communication. Deho had learned to understand them. "Are you happy here?" Deho asked, running his hand over Echo's head. Echo made a sound that Deho recognized as yes. Then the creature looked at him with all 6 eyes and made another sound. A question, am I happy? Deho smiled. Yes, I am happy. We both made it. Against all the odds, we both made it. He thought about everything that had happened. The fear, the pain, the impossible choices. The moment when he had told Echo to attack those prisoners, compromising his principles to keep the creature alive. The mission where they had refused orders and faced execution. The desperate escape from a dying station. All of it had led here. To this moment. To freedom. You know what the galaxy learned from you?